something of anticipation. You know, I'm going to start by saying, and I had a little permission to do this. It was really quick permission, but from Mr. Miles. Mr. Miles, you can just wave real quick. He's not going to wave. He's smiling. Okay. A few days ago, Miles, Rhonda was over at his house and his sister's house, and she was doing a little babysitting while Mom and Dad were out doing their things. Well, short story is he didn't eat his supper, and he didn't eat maybe all of his supper, and he was hungry. He told Rhonda, I want something to eat. And she said, okay, let's go get something. And as they made their way downstairs, he paused, and he said, I can't go in there. There was the kitchen. Why can't you go in the kitchen? There's a camera in there, and my dad will see me, and he'll know what I'm doing. And Rhonda said, I got it. So she went in, he stood behind her, and he got a pack of crackers, and then Rhonda said, I'll take the blame for it, okay? Well, I shared that to say it worked out okay. You didn't get in trouble, did you, Mr. Miles? Oh, you did get in trouble? Okay. Now he's saying he didn't. Oh, you just found out? Oh. It's Rhonda's fault. You know, we all have those moments in our life when we are doing something we probably shouldn't be doing, but, well, we know how that goes. We also have those moments in our life where we experience at that moment is maybe the worst day of our life. And that's through our childhood, our teenage years, and our early years, and it goes through each generation, each decade of our life. We have those bad days. It may be the day that you were at the ball field and you hadn't played a lot, and today was the day you were going to go in and you looked around and your dad wasn't there, your mom wasn't there, or maybe you were about to sing in your school chorus and you looked for your mom and she just wasn't there. Maybe it was the day you wrote that little note to that special boy or girl and you thought, today's the day I'm going to find the love of my life. And you wrote on the, will you be my girlfriend? And it came back with a big no. It was the worst day of your life. As we go through our life, we have those moments where it is the worst day. Sometimes that day comes when someone we love, we find out they're not doing well. I remember just a few years ago, I had a little heart thinking issue, and I ended up at the ER, and they thought, hey, you may be having a heart attack. And so they admitted me, and I said, let my wife know I'm here. I called the school, and I said, but tell her to stay. It's fine. The next thing I know, Rhonda's walking in. It was potentially, in her mind, the worst day of her life because the man she loved could have been having a heart attack. Turned out it was just indigestion. We never know how it's going to turn out. We never know what's going to happen. But one thing we do know, and all of us have been there in some way, the person that we love, the person that's close to us, maybe a dad, a mom, a husband, a wife, or even a child, they breathe their last, and they go and they meet Jesus. That's the worst day any of us will ever experience, and it's kind of unavoidable. In the Old Testament, we see story after story where that happened, and in the New Testament, we see the same thing. And in the New Testament, in John chapter 11, I'm just going to summarize this for you, but basically what happened is Jesus got a message from his dear friends Martha and Mary and Lazarus, and this was the message: your friend Lazarus is sick. Now that was their way of saying, we need you to come here right now because we believe you can fix the problem. They had seen Jesus heal so many people, and that was their invitation, please come. He was 3 days away. When Jesus got the message, he told his disciples, hey, Lazarus is sick, he's going to sleep. And actually by that point, by the time he got the message, Lazarus had already died. And they didn't understand, and Jesus basically said, Lazarus is dead, but we're still going. They didn't understand because they knew that Jesus was also hated by the religious leaders. And they feared for him, they feared for themselves. And they said, there's no need for you to go. Jesus said to them, you've seen me do some miracles, but you're about to see something absolutely incredible that will blow your mind. You're going to see the greatest miracle I've ever done up to this point. They didn't understand it. They didn't want him to go. He did. And when he got to the little village, Martha came and Mary came, and they both are grieving. They've already had the funeral. He's been buried. By now, his body has started decaying, so it was just too late. You ever had that moment where it's like, God, you just showed up too late? That was their day. You're too late. Jesus looked at his friend Martha, and this is what he said. It's in John 11, verses 25 and 26. He basically said this: do you believe that I am the resurrection and the life? That's what he said. He said, the one who believes in me, even if he dies, will live. Now think about that. Jesus looked at his good friend, knowing that Lazarus was beyond dead. He was dead. I mean, there's a difference between being just dead and being dead. Lazarus was really dead. And he said, if you believe in me, whoever dies will live. And then in the next verse, this is what Jesus said to her. He said, everyone who lives and believes in him will never die. And then he asked her, do you believe this? Now we see that and we kind of think, I've had loved ones die and they believed in Jesus. Now we take that to mean the kind of wrong thing. We're all going to die physically. But when we are believers and followers of Jesus, the body dies, but the soul never does. It lives forever. Someone told me once in hospice these words: heaven's time is not on human time, and when our loved one gets to heaven, it's only like a few seconds that they wait on us to get there. For us, it may be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It may seem like a long time, but in heaven, it's just a very short amount of time. Here's what I want you to think about today. We are all going to experience the worst day of our life. We're all going to have our Martha and Mary moment when someone dear to us is very sick and they will breathe their last. Many of you have already been there. Many of you have that hope. When Jesus said those words, he basically said, where's he at? Take me to the spot. He went to the spot. A lot of people were gathered. Jesus said, well, roll the stone away. And these words were said, no, because he stinks by now. It's too late. Jesus said a brief prayer, and then he said these simple words after he prayed. We don't really know what he prayed, but he prayed the prayer, and then he said, Lazarus, come forth. The next thing they know, here comes Lazarus walking out. If I had been there, I would have probably wet my pants. I'm just going to be honest. I would have probably, if not that, I would have run. I would have went, oh, no. This is not possible. And then Jesus said some almost comical words because he had been wrapped up. They said, unwrap him so he can move a little better. He's alive. And a lot of people looked at Jesus and said, you know what? You are really different than any other person we have ever known. Now we know that that miracle led to the greatest miracle here on this earth. The religious leaders who hated Jesus, because so many people believed, they feared that Rome was going to hear of the love of this, and they put it in quotes, king, that they were going to come and wage war and just wipe them all out. And they said basically this: Jesus has got to die. It's better for one man to die than for many of us to suffer at the hands of the Romans. So they decided at that moment, that's it, he's done. We're going to make sure he's dead. And we know the rest of the story. Jesus did die on a cross. He was buried, and he was raised from the dead. What makes all of this so powerful is this: Jesus is God. He's not just a man. He's God. He's God in the flesh. And Jesus saved that miracle of Lazarus just a week before he died on the cross to say to me and you and others, you think that's amazing? Wait till we get to Resurrection Sunday when I am raised from the dead. Because when I'm raised from the dead, everything else I've been telling you about me, that I am God, you will see then I am God, and you will see that I am the bread of life. I came to give you life this side of heaven and life in heaven forevermore. You will see then that I'm the good shepherd. I came to care for you and give you everything you need on the worst days of your life, no matter what that may be, so that you can enjoy life here on this earth. Sadly, so many people go through the worst days of their life, whether it's as a child or a teenager or a young adult, middle-aged, even in the senior years. We don't really trust the one who can make a difference. But that's what Jesus came to do. On the phone yesterday, and I'll close with this, I spoke with Carlos Fuller. Many of you know Mr. Carlos. Some of you may not know Mr. Fuller and his wonderful wife, Miss Ruth. They've been married for a really long time. A really long time. 71 years? I couldn't remember. 71 years they've been married. She wasn't doing so well on Friday or Saturday. I forget which day. They took her to the hospital. And this is what Mr. Fuller said to me. He said, Sam, I don't know if she's going to make it or not. Sometimes I guess it'd just be better if the Lord just called her home. I'm ready to go too. Now, when you've been married 71 years to somebody, that's profound, isn't it? It's also profound that you can say, even if this is it, now she's back with him today, so it wasn't it yet, but it is coming soon. And it's coming soon not just for them, but for all of us. It is profound that you can say, not only is Jesus with me now, but he will walk with me on the worst day of my life. Because I know that Jesus is the life and the resurrection. And because I believe in him, I will never die, and my loved one will never truly die. They may not breathe here, but in a short time, we will be reunited together in a place that will last forever. And that's the hope we all have. So on the worst days of our life, we grieve, but we don't grieve like those who have no hope. Why? Because this is what Jesus came to give us. That's what the choir just sang about. That's what I share here every week, week in and week out. That you, even though you go through difficult times, you don't live without hope. And you can experience God's peace and God's joy right now, today, every day, no matter what you may go through. Let's pray together.